Greetings and welcome back everyone. If you like these videos, be sure to share them with your friends to help the channel grow. I'm CryptoSnake, back again to bring you some Bitcoin analysis. So in the previous video, I outlined a possible path for Bitcoin through the descending wedge pattern. With the ETF dump news, however, the descending wedge was actually broken, which happened around this candle here, but it would appear that the wedge has reformed itself slightly lower down with a slightly steeper angle now, and the price has been respecting this wedge fairly well. After breaking down, the price did hold around the 3200 level support before continuing a gradual bullish trend upwards. So taking a look at some of the technical analysis today, the daily Kijun-sen has started to slope down. It is starting to plateau around this level, indicating a potential pullback to it, which we are seeing acting right now with this massive pump. The Chikou span has also found some support around the 3370 level and is moving up gradually to test the price. However, the SAR is still moving bearish, so this does cap our overall pump from this area. However, a short squeeze would very likely break through this SAR. Now down on the Kopik curve, it's still rising, which means the trend is still moving upwards, but it is starting to move towards a peak, which leads me to believe that this pump will be fairly temporary. Taking a look at the Williams %R, after smashing down to the 3200 level support down in this bearish territory at -96, we have broken back up into the territory and are moving with a bullish direction with a potential peak at around -60 unless we break this bear cycle, as we have capped out at around -60 since we've plunged from the peak. So that would be the likely breakdown scenario. The relative strength index has broken back up from below 30, now at 32, with again still plenty of room to grow here. When this actually does break up, we will see some massive price movement, possibly even back up into the previous channel. Right now, however, it is still very suppressed. Now for a bit of a bullish outlook, this descending wedge has reformed itself, as I said, into a potentially either a broadening descending wedge or a more refined descending wedge following the ETF dump, both of which would be a bullish pattern for a breakout. But another interesting pattern that may, and I really want to emphasize may potentially be forming here is an inverse head and shoulders. I know people see this on every single time frame, but it really only matters when you see it on massive time frames. So what an inverse head and shoulders is it's an actual bullish formation. It consists of a shoulder, a head, and then what it would look like would be a pump up somewhere around to the neckline, up around 4265 to 4235 or so. This would mark major resistance at this level. This would be a very good opportunity to short it around this level. And if it broke down from here, it would absolutely confirm the inverse head and shoulders formation, which would come down to around here, test this support at 3680 or so, 3670 once again, and then bounce and break the neckline for a massive pump. This formation very likely would instill a bull run. Now this would probably be the most bullish scenario for Bitcoin at the moment. It offers a great opportunity to open up a long down around this area, follow the head up to the neckline, reverse it into a short down to the previous shoulder length, followed by a final long to ride up into the bull run. Now I want to emphasize that this formation is very rare. It's very unlikely to occur, but this would be the most bullish scenario that I could think of right now, assuming that we found bottom around the 3200 level. The price position to watch for this would be the neckline at around the 4250, depending on which exchange you're on. This could very well actuate with a short squeeze if we get it. Now a slightly less bullish projection here would be a return to the daily Kijun-sen around the 3730 or so. Right now we are being rejected from the 3560 resistance level. This is a historic resistance level. If we can smash through this, we will ride up to the daily Kijun-sen around 3740. If we strike through that, I could see an SAR flip and potentially coming up to test the upper side of the broadening wedge around 3870. If we break out of this lower wedge channel, we are very likely to pump fairly aggressively. So these four levels are the levels to watch right now. That would be the 3570 if we break this and break the wedge at 3600 or so. The next resistance level would be around the 3700 level, 3740, and then breaking the wedge at 3870. All the way up to the neckline at 4250. As for the bearish scenario, we may very well continue with this wedge, breaking down from this smaller wedge, breaking all the way back down to around the 3000 level. Now, if we continue to respect this wedge all the way down, it will eventually rebound and rebound very hard. However, the angle of this descending wedge would indicate a massive drop is coming, especially with Monday being a low volume day. It could go either way. Normally Monday results in a dump, and this could very well complete into a bear flag, although I do believe that the bear flag has been rather negated as we have stopped around this level. A bear flag would have continued down from the full length of this, marking down all the way down all the way down to around the 1200 level. As for the Heikin Ashi, which is the measurement of money flow into the market, we have posted our first green daily Heikin Ashi. That is definitely bullish if this can remain green. The next candle is very likely to post green as well and produce a residual pump. So the next daily candle will be very, very important. And we made some massive profits in the VIP from this descending wedge bounce all the way up to the daily Kijinsen in the VIP group. And if you'd like to join my free Telegram for insights on the market, including Bitcoin, altcoins, and a sneak peek to my personal entries and exits, join t.me/cryptosnakepit. Links directly to the chat and a link on how to install Telegram, which is a free chat program I use to communicate with my VIPs, in the description below. I've also launched my official Twitter, so follow me at CryptoSnakeVIP to get regular updates. December has also been going very strong with some solid profits. Here's a preview of this month's gains. I also give out hot altcoin swing positions every week to my VIPs. If you want information on how to get into the VIP group to be part of these trades, the information is also in the description below. And I'm always happy to answer questions. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me on Telegram at officialcryptosnake. So I want to address the smoking gun today for Bitcoin and why we saw this massive price movement. Bitcoin shorts, which is the measurement of people betting against the market or betting that Bitcoin will go down, had surpassed its all-time high at around 39,000 or 40,000 or so, going all the way up to 43,000. This would be an absolutely new peak for shorts. We did break down aggressively from that with a bearish engulfing candle straight back down, and we have started a dissension with a bearish SAR dot above. Now, what does this translate to? When these shorts fall, positions are liquidated. When those positions are liquidated, people betting against the market, the exchange's money flows very quickly back into Bitcoin, which raises the price very, very fast, essentially putting billions of dollars back into the coin in an instant. So now that we've posted our first bearish SAR dot, let's take a look back at the previous dumps that occurred like this. Occasionally there are pumps after this. We may continue upwards from here in side trend for a little while, but most of the time, once this SAR dot does post, it does break down savagely, and we have a massive, massive pump on Bitcoin, as we can see historically. So the short specifically is why I believe that the inverse head and shoulders may play out here. If we take a look back at the shorts really fast, we can see just how little we've actually fallen here and how much more room we have to fall. We have at least 3 times the pump to go from this. So if we take a look back at the Bitcoin chart, that would put us relatively back up to around the 4250 neckline. That's why I do believe that this formation may form here. It's absolutely not guaranteed, but if this short squeeze occurs in full force, we're very likely to see 4200. We may even strike past the neckline and even further. Obviously, that would negate this formation, and we are very likely to break back down from there. That would be the more bearish scenario. That could go all the way up to 5,000 if the short squeeze is powerful enough. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of technical analysis here on Ethereum as well. Ethereum had a very, very small short squeeze as well. It has now posted 2 daily SAR dots in the bullish formation, which is very, very good. The Heikin Ashi, the money flow into Ethereum, is still posting slightly red, but it does look like it may flip green here shortly. As for the RSI, it is down around the 28 level. And the Williams %R is moving into bullish territory from the bearish territory after breaking down savagely. What I also want to put out on Ethereum as well is that Ethereum shorts are also heavily overextended. In fact, they haven't broken down nearly as much as Bitcoin has, and I do expect a savage pump out of Ethereum over the next couple of days or so. This may be following the Monday dump if there is one, so around late Monday, maybe Tuesday morning or so, we may see a residual pump on Ethereum. Ethereum is definitely looming for a massive, massive pump. Bitcoin surpassed its all-time highs on shorts. Ethereum blew them entirely out of the water, almost twice the size, all the way up to around 425,000 shorts for Ethereum, up from 315,000 as the previous peak. So when this breaks, this is going to be absolutely massive. Ethereum is definitely going to start flying. We could see price targets all the way up to $200 or so. It really depends on when that short squeeze starts cascading and where that price goes from there. There are a lot of bearish factors to Ethereum right now, as it has broken down below that 100 and it has finished a daily close below 100. On top of that, ICOs are dumping in force. So there's definitely a lot of negative pressure going against Ethereum right now, but I do feel like this is a bubble scenario. In the inverse direction, it is very likely to pop and start moving absolutely parabolic. People will start FOMOing onto that as soon as it hits around the 200 level, and it could even move higher than that. So right now, I'm definitely bullish on Ethereum for a short squeeze. However, it's also in a relative no man's land between the 105 resistance and the 60 support. There's some light support around 80 that would catch it. It does appear that we bounced around the 83 level. We may come back to test that a couple times before the short squeeze actually actuates. Now, as for the market cap right now, we're at 115 billion. We are up slightly from yesterday. The altcoin market is surging as well. It really wants to rebound. A lot of positions up between 5 to 10%, even higher, up to 15% for some of them like Dash. And the Bitcoin market cap has risen up to just under 55%. Now, on to some news. US bill seeks to protect cryptocurrency investors from market manipulation. Now, this is both a good thing and a bad thing. It obviously means that the government will try to get its fingers into this more. There are two acts currently being passed: the Virtual Currency Consumer Protection Act. This bill directs the CFTC to explain how price manipulation occurs and to recommend regulatory changes to prevent it. We may see some regulatory changes to exchanges. I'm not exactly sure what this would entail. This may control more of the bot movement, but overall, more regulation is bad for the space. The other act that is important is the Virtual Currency Market and Regulatory Competitiveness Act. This law basically directs the CFTC to make the US more competitive in the crypto space, trying to take advantage of that technology and change some of the cumbersome laws around it. So maybe we'll see some changes on the overall tax laws that would be very bullish for the space. So this is mostly good news. Now on to a bit of Ethereum news. Block 7,080,000. This is more of a mining story. Ethereum devs propose activation point for the next hard fork. The next hard fork will basically have the mining reward for Ethereum down from 3 to 2. Now, if you recall, a couple of months ago, I did bring up this story that there was a phone call with the Ethereum development team regarding this halving of the reward as a response to Ethereum's price dropping rapidly. They thought if they reduced the reward because the difficulty was getting so high, that it would save Ethereum from absolutely collapsing. Now, obviously that wasn't the case. That didn't happen. ICOs dumped it regardless. But what's important to note here is that the Ethereum difficulty has considerably dropped and has been consistently dropping for the past couple of months as the price has been dropping. This is very good news for mining. If you mine it to hold, which I do recommend, if you're going to mine, you mine it for holding. A lot of the miners are jumping ship on Ethereum as the price is just not profitable and they don't intend to hold the coin. They intend to sell it for profit immediately to cover their losses. So a lot of the big miners are shutting down, which is causing the difficulty to lower. So we may see a good price resurgence out of Ethereum from this as well. Now, a crypto adoption story. Venezuela is to sell its oil for petro, basically because their currency is essentially worthless right now, in 2019. So this is more adoption by individual countries in the crypto space. We may see some very interesting changes in the world from cryptocurrency if these countries go into full adoption mode on these, essentially because as a country you're going from using a fiat currency backed by generally gold to a digital currency backed by investors. That's a very interesting concept, and that would take a very long time to get into. So we'll go on to the next story. Coinbase considers adding 30 new crypto assets to its exchange. If you don't know, Coinbase is kind of the holy grail of exchange listings. It does pump coins very aggressively. However, most exchange listings do eventually pump a coin. Generally, there's the hype build up to it. Once it lists, it does crash down. Now, what I believe Coinbase is trying to do here is they're trying to compete with Binance. They're trying to turn Coinbase Pro into a massive exchange. So it's no longer going to be just the diverse 5 or 6 or so coins on Coinbase. We are going to have a full marketplace, so you don't have to transfer your funds from Coinbase into Binance to trade. You will eventually be able to just trade most of the altcoins on Coinbase. They do appear to be going through a kind of identity crisis on what they wanted to be, whether they wanted to be a niche blue chip exchange. The exchange list that I saw that they were going to add of the assets is very diverse. It has a lot of very small micro cap altcoins, so it does appear that they are trying to do a catch-all, and I would expect a lot of new coins to be added to Coinbase in the future. So just to recap really fast, I'm expecting a massive pump on Ethereum and Bitcoin here soon from this short squeeze that I've been laying out for a while. When this will actuate, I can't say. It may be from a test down on the $60 range for Ethereum, though I do believe that is unlikely to happen first. It may occur from an $84.50 drop. That is very likely. As for Bitcoin, I'm also leaning bullish for a pump out of this range from a short squeeze. However, there's a definite chance that we do break down to test this lower wedge once again around the 3,200 support level before breaking back up into that short squeeze once again. This would look something like this: break down from that wedge down to the support line and then possibly smashing through this wedge for the squeeze. It could still occur around here. We may break up through this wedge here, testing the daily Kijun-sen, breaking through the daily Kijun-sen, breaking through the descending wedge and breaking up into that head and shoulders pattern. So I would say I'm about 60% bullish from here, 40% bearish for a breakdown. And that's it for today's technical analysis. If you do make any trades today, I wish you luck. Please join me in my free Telegram at t.me/CryptoSnakePit, where I give up to the minute updates on Bitcoin and my personal exits and entries for the private VIP group. Also included is our private VIP chat, where you can chat with many of our experienced savage traders, get personal technical analysis from me, and answer any questions you might have. This is CryptoSnake, signing off.